Good afternoon, Global. Good evening. Welcome to tonight's Bible study. Tonight, we're talking about national home ownership. So we have some great experts tonight, but before we get started, we're going to open up with a word of prayer. Father God, we thank you for this day, God. We thank you for your grace and your mercy, God. We thank you for keeping us, Father God. We thank you, Lord God, for watching over us. We thank you for your wisdom and your guidance, God, as we go through each day. God, we ask that you will bless this panel, oh God. Bless everything that we say and do, God, that it will be done decently and in order, God. We give you glory, we give you honor, and we give you praise. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Trina, for that. Good evening, Global and friends that are watching. As Trina mentioned, June is National Home Ownership Month, and it wouldn't be like Global if we didn't provide you with a little bit of knowledge, because we are the church that what? We learn, we have fun, and our lives get better. So tonight we're going to do a little learning. Our lives are going to get better, and we always have fun. I want to start out with one of the scriptural verses that found. It is Proverbs 24:3-4. And it reads, "By wisdom a house is built, and through understanding it is established. Through knowledge its rooms are filled with rare and beautiful treasures." So tonight we're going to give you a little bit of that understanding and knowledge to help you to obtain a home if you don't already have one. I do want to say, and I want to put out there, this is not a bash against anyone that is renting. Our purpose tonight is to just provide the knowledge that may be needed in order to purchase a home. If you are currently a homeowner, this doesn't excuse you from tonight's Bible study, because you can learn something that may help somebody else. You may have a family member, or you may have a friend that is looking to purchase a home, and you would be able to share this information with you. So I have a panel tonight. My name is Jennifer Thomas. I am a real estate agent, and I have been in the business for 19 years. And I'll let the others introduce themselves.
I am Batrina Dorich, and I have been a real estate agent for almost 10 years.
My name is Brenda Hopkins, and I have been a real estate agent for 17 years.
My name is Sheba Robinson. I am a mortgage broker, and I've been on the mortgage side for 20 years.
Very good. Thank you. So before we get started into our panel, I have some questions that I'm going to ask Trina, Brenda, and Sheba. I have some questions that were pre-prepared that I'm going to ask them. But before we get into that, I just want to go over a few benefits of home ownership. The first one is accruing equity. Most people don't pay outright for a home. They have to obtain a mortgage. So as you're paying on your mortgage and you're paying it down, your home begins to build equity. And with that, you have the ownership of an appreciable investment. And what that means is your home appreciates in value. And then as you pay it off, you're building the equity. And one of the benefits there is that when and if you do decide to sell, you're able to pocket the equity that has been built into your home. Another benefit is a tax advantage for those that are paying on a mortgage. For your home, the tax advantage is that you can deduct the interest rate from your taxable income. So that reduces the amount that you have to pay in taxes. And I know all of us would love to have some type of tax cut, because we pay all these taxes throughout the year, and we may even still have to pay back some more when tax time comes, and also may even only get a little bit back. But this amount would be deducted. Some of the interest that you pay on a mortgage will be deducted from your taxable income. And then another advantage is reduced living cost over time. Right now, most renters are paying, if not the same, only a little bit less than what you can pay in a mortgage. And you pay that month over month over month, and you're not getting anything back from that. So as I previously stated, you can build equity in a home, but when you're just paying month over month, you're just continuing to pay that. But at some point, if you have a mortgage and you stay within that mortgage and you stay at the same house over a long period of time, your mortgage will be paid off and you would be able to enjoy the benefits of a mortgage-free, no rent, no payments per month on the home that you are living in. So it's very important, if you could start early, and if you have children or any young people that's in college, just preparing them with this information and the knowledge so that they can start early. Because just think, if you start in your 20s and you purchase your home, if you stay in that home, before you retire, your home will be paid off. So in your retirement, not only are you enjoying retirement, but you're not having to pay a mortgage. And then the last thing is just the freedom and safety of owning a home. When you own a home, you can do whatever you want with it. You could change the landscaping. You can plant whatever plants you want, put flowers wherever you want to put them. You can paint the inside any color that you want. You can change out the appliances to what you want, how often you want to. But most of the times when you are renting, you're restricted to what the landlord will allow you to do. So those are just a few benefits that I've noted and wanted to share with you on the benefits of owning a home. There's so many more. I can spend probably 10 more minutes going over the benefits of home ownership, but just wanted to put some of the top ones out there before we get into our panel discussion. So, you ladies ready? Yeah. Y'all ready? All right.
Some good benefits too, Jennifer.
Okay,
Good
okay.
benefits.
So, I have prepared questions for each of you, and I will direct them to you, but please, everyone else, because we all are experts in these subjects, if you have anything to add, please do so, because our goal tonight is to make sure that everyone watching gets the information that they need in order to be a homeowner if they're not already. Okay? Sounds good? All right.
do it.
So Sheba, I am going to start with you because, as I stated, in most cases, people have to obtain a home mortgage. Very few cases, people are able to pay full cash. It happens. Yep. And if you can do it, that's great. But in most cases, we need a home mortgage. So I want to start with you. Once I get pre-approved for a home mortgage, what's next?
You contact one of you beautiful ladies and go shopping.
That's right. Tell them, Sheba.
The pre-approval process is kind of like the hooray. I mean, it's the nervous part, because you're turning in all of your documents and then you're giving it to me to review, send through underwriting, make sure all the pieces of the puzzle come together. But once you get a call from me and we discuss your financing options, your programs, your interest rates, your payments, down payment and closing costs, then it's now time to go shopping. Some people say that's the fun part, and some people say it's not so fun, with inventory, areas, locations, and then a cost, and a competition of the shopping part and the housing part. That can be the nervous part. But the pre-approval process, it normally takes 24, 48 hours once I get your documentation, depending on how many applications I have, but it's pretty quick.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Well, I can say for sure she's really quick because I used her. Home ownership is popping with Sheba.
All right. I have to get your information.
And remember to always ask, if you're going to go with someone else other than me, but always ask your lender for a pre-approval, not a pre-qualification.
Yes.
That's not really worth the paper that it's printed on, but you want to make sure that it goes to underwriting, it goes through the automatic underwriting system, and that when you go out there and shop, you're shopping with confidence that that loan is going to go through.
Right, because basically, Sheba, a pre-qualification, I guess, for people who don't know, they're not even looking at all of everything. Nope. They're just saying, oh, okay, you make this much, and you can get this much, but they haven't even looked at all of your documents.
A lot of the times they have you fill out an application. Some of them they get slick. So especially the call center loan officers that call you on the phone, they're asking you certain questions and filling in spots on the application. They may ask you how much you make. And as a regular consumer, we're thinking in our head, oh, I make $5,000 a month. In actuality, you may make 4 or you may make 6,
Right.
but you're only thinking about the net and not the gross.
Right.
So if they can tell you right on the spot that you qualify, be weary of that, because you want to make sure that we get in depth in your information. I get all in your business. I will not lie. I am asking about the pluses, the minuses, dotting I's and crossing T's. But this is some people's biggest purchase of their life.
Right.
And you want to make sure, I got an interest. I want to get a check. You want to get a check. The seller want to get a check. The buyer want to get a house. I never like to give false information. If I can't do it, I'm not sure, give me a little bit more time. But when I give that pre-approval, it's cash in the bank for everybody involved.
Yeah.
And I agree with you, because when I vet my clients, I tell them we need a pre-approval. Because that pre-qualified is not really going to do you any good, really, when I have to submit an offer and we're going against. So it's making you stronger too in order to purchase your home.
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I tell them that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely
Me
get
too.
a pre-approval letter.
Yeah, because what you don't want is close to what you think is closing time,
Right.
and something comes up. So earlier, like I said, I've been in the business 19 years. So earlier in my career, I didn't know better. I thought pre-qual, we go looking for this house, we get all excited. I done calculated what my commission gonna be.
That's true.
And not so much. So
Right.
it's like, they're not gonna get this loan. So yes, pre-approval all the way.
And it won't always be an easy process, but it's going to be a vetted process. And I tell my agent partners and my buyers, like, hey, I know you're on pins and needles, but you got to give me time to look at all of this stuff. I underwrote for about 5 years, so I know what they're looking for. And, everyone's case isn't easy, especially self-employed. Their tax returns are non-tax returns. It's just, we got to get creative. And, it's ABC, we looking for the same thing, same house, we work at the same place, and it's going to be 4 different loans.
Yeah. She's the princess of creativity.
Okay, so my next question is for you, Trina. What is the first thing that you would tell someone looking to purchase a home?
Look, we already discussed it. You need to get pre-approval, because what I'm not doing is going out showing you houses without knowing that you can, pay for the house. We don't go out and look at houses. So basically, the first thing I'm telling them is get pre-approved, because I also know that, the lender is going to look at their credit, because sometimes people will say, oh, well, my credit score is such and such. But when is the last time you checked your credit score, and who checked it? Because Credit Karma is not, what you want to look at in order to get, when you get ready to buy your house. You don't want to just look at Credit Karma and all of these other places. You want to get, somebody who is going to lend you some money to check, to check your credit and make sure that you're on the right road for getting pre-approved. So I always tell my clients, you have to get pre-approved first. We're not looking at any houses, and people are excited. Let's go look at some houses. We can't go look at houses until I get that paper from Sheba.
And we're emotional, so we get attached to the house. And then when you come to financing, and I have to break it to you, you can't afford the $1 million house. Let's look more at the $600,000. Well, they already don't picture themselves in that house.
Yeah.
And that can, derail your dream of, I really love this house. People get attached before the end of
Absolutely.
the process. So you don't want to window shop before you know how much money you can actually spend, or even what the payment's gonna be. It's shocking, because the Zillow show, $2,500. Yeah, that's putting a zillion down, and not being realistic that 3% or 5% or 3.5%, that's gonna shoot that payment up higher, and taxes and
taxes,
insurance be
right.
added onto it.
Yes.
So it's good to always know how much the house is, how much you can afford, the principal, interest, tax, and insurance, the down payment, and the closing costs, to see if this is the time or the house for you. So I always say, talk to your real estate agent, let them prefer you or refer you to their trusted partners because you have to deal with the team. We're a team when we're in this process, and then just let it flow. The house is going to be there. New houses come on the market every day.
Yeah.
So, if you miss one, be patient. Another one will pop up, but definitely want to get financing first.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you, Trina. So we, pre-approval. Everybody, I think we're all on the same page.
Yep, definitely.
All right, Brenda, I have this next question for you. How long does it take to purchase a home?
Well, you have to make sure you pack your patience. It's going to take a minute for you to purchase a home. And what I mean by that is making sure you're ready. As we already spoke, Sheba and Trina told you, you need to get your pre-approval and make sure your finances are in order for you to be ready to buy your house. Another thing is pay attention to your finances. What can you actually afford? So like Sheba say, you can go house looking, but then by the time you get to her, she's gonna have to give you the barrel of bad news. So make sure that you're financial ready and that you know how much money that you're gonna spend. You do not have to spend what you're approved for. No one knows what your pocket is. No one knows your daily expenses, what you like to go do to have fun. You have to incorporate all that so you can make sure you're paying that mortgage and paying your utilities, your home ownership, everything. I mean, your home insurance, everything buys into that. So you got to look at your over scale of your life to make sure that what you can afford.
Okay, Trina?
Yeah, I mean, it can take, so I'll say from personal experience, Sheba is pretty quick as far as getting you pre-approved. And then, if you find the house, I think it's going to vary how long it's going to actually take for you to purchase a home. But once you get pre-approved and you find your house, I mean, you can close, in 3 weeks. You can close sooner. Look, my first house I bought with you, and remember, it only took me 2 weeks, So it really can vary, and it depends on your situation. It depends on how long it takes. When we were in that seller's market over the last couple of years, it's bidding war, so it was taking a lot longer a lot of times because, you're getting outbid a lot of times. So the process is going to be individualized, but as Brenda said, pack your patience. It might come quickly. If you find the house that you want, it could come quickly. If you have all your financing together and have all your documents together and you can get those to Sheba in a timely manner, she's going to work her magic, and the process can go quickly, but it's not a guarantee that, the process is going to take, 1 month. It's going to take this. It's going to depend.
Yeah, and it really depends on also what you touched on, Trina, what the market is doing at that time, because last year was just crazy. Where people were looking to move within a couple of months, it was taking 4 or 5 months because they were outbidding. Like they put a contract on a house and it will fall through. Somebody overbid them. And so just as Brenda said it, she said it really great. Just pack your patience because it's kind of a trick question because there's really no time frame that we could say it's going to take you this long to purchase a house. To go through the pre-qualification and get your pre-approval and then actually start the process is one thing, but finding the home, putting a contract down on the home and having the offer accepted is a whole different ballgame. And we can't tell you. It really depends on what the market is looking like at the time to determine how long it would take you to purchase a home.
That's good. I also forgot about to talk about the people who have cash offers. So if you have cash offers, you don't need a loan. That can take you up to 14 weeks to close, but you have to find that house. Like Jennifer stated, like a year ago, we're really in 2020. It took me 2 years to find someone, but we kept getting outbidded because people was paying like $20,000 to $30,000
Over.
So you lost, and we had a lot of people who really wanted to buy a home versus being an investor.
All right, Sheba, the next question is for you. If you know someone that is looking to purchase a home and they come to you and say, hey, I'm going to need a mortgage in the next couple of months because I'm looking to buy a home this summer, what are some things that you would tell them they need to start doing in order to be ready for that time?
The first thing I'm gonna tell them to do is to write down a budget. I send my borrowers this budget sheet, and I like for them to, as she said, know your overall financial picture. Yeah, you can pay $2,000 a month for the house, but that's just for your mortgage. What about your utilities? Then the mortgage going to increase maybe for the first 2 years. So you need to factor that in. I ask for a range. And then I also tell them, hey, I give them a couple of sites to pull their credit report because sometimes you don't know what's on there. If you're looking at Credit Karma, that's your Vantage score. That's a free. They make their money a certain kind of way. So they're only going to give you just a little bit. They're not giving you everything. So that can be some stuff that's hitting on there. On top of it's just 2 scores. So know your credit score, even just the information that's on there. You want to make sure there's no liens, no judgments, no incorrect information. Some people have common names, so it may be somebody else's credit that's on there. So you want to make sure you have a good, clean credit report. And if you need to work on something while that time is coming, go ahead and work on it. If you can lower your debt, so your overall debt-to-income ratio is lower, work on that stuff right there. But I just want to tell them to get their self in order. It's not just to wake up and, oh, I'm going to go buy a house. No, go ahead and plan it. If you're self-employed, you kind of got to start 2 years before you purchase because your tax returns have to be a certain kind of way. If you live at home with your parents or with someone and you don't pay rent, you have to show the underwriter you're ready to make these mortgage payments. So you want to pay $2,000? Start putting $2,000 in a savings account that you don't touch. That way you're showing the underwriter, I can make this payment and I got reserves or down payment or furniture money.
Yeah.
But you already preparing yourself mentally that a part of my check is going to this mortgage. And that helps you overall to just set yourself up. So it's a process and you definitely need to prepare. But look at your credit, look at your finances, and look at your budget.
Okay. Good
That's
information.
good. Yeah, that is good. Put it aside. I've never thought about that when you have renters to help them get ready. Tell them to put, if you know you want to spend $2,000 a month, go ahead and start putting that aside. So that's good. That's good information, y'all.
And if they rent, their rent right now is $1,000, but $1,000 mortgage payment and $1,000 rent payment are
It's
two different things. So if you know the house that you're maybe going to look at or the range of the house, maybe, $250 to $300 is my range. That's the houses I've been seeing. That's what I'm interested in. Okay, that mortgage payment is $1,700. You only pay $1,000 now. You pay your $1,000 rent, you put the other $700 in that savings account. It shows you can handle it. You're preparing for it. It won't be a payment shock. And, that can be a payment shock because $1,000 is your total, $1,700 plus your utility bills, plus, everybody gonna want to furniture shop and upgrade and, get the flowers and all that stuff. So you need to plan for that. So even with the renter, if you're renting currently right now, just put the difference up and mentally prepare yourself. If you do it a couple of months and you see it's a stretch, at the end of the month, you only got, a couple $100, you can't live that way, then your budget needs to go down.
Yeah.
That's good, because even with us, like we have big kids. All of it. Well, you too, Sheba, have big kids. So that's something good for us, I guess, to start teaching them and showing them because they're living either at home or they're in college or they're preparing for college. If they're in college and maybe they can start getting that in their minds so that they know, what to look forward to.
Yeah. Junior year, if you got any kids in college right now, starting at junior year and they know that home ownership is going to be on the horizon, if they graduate in their major and get a job fresh after, they can purchase offer letter. And your parents can help as a non-owner occupant. So they can piggyback off your success or your, incredible credit history and solid profile to piggyback them into purchasing their house so they don't have to go out and rent as soon as they get out of college. So they get their offer letter. College is their 2-year work history. We only ask for 24 months. So their transcript, their first job, They can either get down payment assistance or you can, gift it to them. So, our college students, just go ahead and start preparing. If you're working, start, putting the money aside if you can and prepare yourself for home ownership.
That's
like
good
that,
information. I
yeah.
like that because we all got some kids in college
Yeah.
or about to go, so that's great.
Yes, great information. I already started my daughter doing that. She graduated early, she
Mm-hmm.
got her job, and even though she's gonna start a master's program, but she already started putting aside to buy a home. So she's with us for about 2 years, and then then we're gonna go, I'm gonna refer her to you.
Yeah.
And then I'm
That's
gonna
a
take
great
her out
thing
to
to
find
do.
her home.
Yep.
Yeah, another thing, just one last thing is like if you're preparing to get a home mortgage in the next couple of months or so, please do not go out and make any large purchases.
Especially the car.
The car.
Get the car
that you-
afterwards.
After closing, yes, after closing, just
Leave
wait.
closing and go get your car
Yes,
and all your furniture and everything.
yeah, I
Yes.
mean, not even, I've gotten pre-approval, I got a closing date, I'm about to go buy a car. Just wait, just wait till after closing to make any big purchases.
The cars is the number one thing, other than student loans, and we have a workaround for student loans now, but the car is the number one thing that kills the DTI. I call it the DTI killer because that payment, and we don't think about it, we're thinking, 5 to 7 years I can handle. But the interest rates right now, interest rates high on houses, credit cards, but cars as well. And I'm seeing car notes I've never seen before, $1,000, $1,100, $1,200 for a car. And that's 7 years, but we have to count that. And that's sometimes half of a person's check.
Yeah.
And, you can get the car afterwards.
Yeah, get the car after. And I have seen deals fall apart because they thought, I can go get it on my way to closing because they won't find out. But, sometimes they'll still check your credit and stuff right before closing.
Well, let me give a little indicator. Soon as I pull your credit and make application, we put a monitor like a GPS, like a hidden GPS on your credit profile. So if you
Really?
get it pulled, we know.
Gotcha.
And we know from like I said, the day we pull your credit until 90 days when that credit report expires. So if it only takes 30 for your home to close, the loans go to post-closing. They run a loan all the way through. You got your keys, you living in it. We got our checks, we on to the next one. But the mortgage company want to make sure that what we did is correct. All the pieces of paper were signed, everything was right. Sometimes they verify your employment again. Sometimes they look at your credit again. Sometimes they verify your assets again just to make sure it's random. It's just an audit. If they see that you bought that car before you sign on that dotted line, they can call your house due. If you won't qualify with that extra payment, they can tell you, okay, you either have to pay the house in full or we have to redo your loan. And I've seen only one time in my 20-year career that a person had to move out of that house and give those keys back.
Ooh, that's tight,
Wow.
y'all. My gosh.
So don't go that day. Maybe go about 30 days later just to make sure nothing comes up. It's rare, like I said, it's very rare, and it's random audits.
Right.
They look at all of the loans, but certain ones, they really have an underwriter go right back through everything. Because we're human
Right.
error. Some people can miss something. So they just want to make sure that they're secured and they ain't gave you $300,000 and you really couldn't afford it.
Right. That's
That's
good.
good information.
That's
I
very
didn't know
good.
that.
I didn't either.
Me neither.
Because I'd be like, go get it after closing.
I know, right? I think we've all said that. Wait till after the closing because I didn't know that they can keep checking, randomly, even if it's random, but still, who
Yeah.
wants to take that chance? Because that poor person, you got to go move out your house after you've
After you did
held those
Gosh.
keys and
Oh my
started
gosh.
moving your
don't-
stuff
You
in.
don't get no money back. They don't
Ooh.
give no down payment back. They don't give anything.
Oh.
And, we happy, we at the closing, we taking pictures, everyone's excited, and the borrowers are just signing away. And they're not reading what they're
They're
signing.
signing.
So you're signing, telling them, you give them permission to audit,
do
and
that.
you also give them permission to call that mortgage due if they find fraudulent activity, anything new on your credit, or you quit your job that day.
Wow. So what happens? I mean,
Interesting.
this is a little bit off topic, but it's so interesting. I didn't know that. So what happens with the seller? Do they get the house back?
No, the bank owns it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, the bank owns it. Well, the lender or whoever was the
Was.
provider of the financing,
Okay.
they own it.
That makes sense, though.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good.
Because the seller had
Yeah,
nothing to
Wow,
do with
with
it.
that,
And then
yeah.
they don't take the realtor's money, but they'll take mine.
They will.
I'm held responsible for it. So if I tell you, nope, they can't qualify, and you go take them somewhere else and they qualify, just know it's a reason why.
Right.
And sometimes I'm not willing to take that risk for whatever it may be, or I see something sketchy in there. Because if they don't make the first 6 months of payments, they take my check back. It's called an
Really?
EPO. Mhm.
Wow.
Wow.
If they're late within the first 6
interesting.
months, or if they miss a payment within the first 6 months. So that's how I ride my barriers to make sure you make them first 6 payments. Make all of them. But
Right. Just make your first
definitely
six.
Yes.
the first 6. But yeah, it's called an EPO. They will take our check back, not y'all's. So I'm really, really risky. I don't take a lot of risk anymore. I really get into it, especially me owning my own company. All the liability fall on me. So I'm really, really cautious about who I lend money to, because I don't know the person. I only know you, and that's like me walking up to you and saying, "Hey, let me borrow $500."
Yeah.
You want to know when I'm gonna get it back,
Mm-hmm.
where you work at, what payment terms we're gonna have. You don't know me, so a lot of times it's gonna be no. So when a borrower comes to me, that's how I look at them. Would I lend them money? I'm looking at your credit. Do I feel comfortable with lending you this much money and knowing I'm not gonna get it back into 30 years? So I really do go through and vet that person. I want to prove everybody, everyone deserves a home.
Yeah.
But some people, not a denial, just a delay.
Right.
Work a little bit more, save a little bit more, get your credit up a little bit more, kind of clear out the people that you owe. You can't just not pay these people.
Yeah.
It's going to reflect all around.
Right.
But, you got to have a place to stay, but you don't always pay your bills on time. So, I definitely give the education, do this, and then come back in 3 months and you may be in a better situation.
That's good information.
That's great.
This is awesome. I am so excited because I'm learning. Trina, the next question is for you. What does a realtor do and why is it important to have one?
Oh, great question.
Yes, that is great. Well, we advocate for our buyers and our sellers. That's the main thing that we do. And when I say we advocate for them, when it comes to the buyers, we're helping them to negotiate. We're helping them, by introducing them to people who can help them get a loan. We're helping them as far as when they want to see houses. You need to have somebody who can get you in. You don't want to be, relying on the agent of the seller because they have a vested interest in the seller. So you want to have your own agent, somebody who is advocating, on your behalf. When it comes to sellers, the agent is going to host open houses for you. It's going to tell you a good range for you to sell your property. With the buyers, going to make comps, look at the comps and tell you what's a good price for you to purchase your house. Those are, kind of the main reasons I would say it's good to have one, because you need somebody that's on your side that's going to tell you how to operate, how to move, and who to talk to, and they're going to help you get your house. But you won't have to worry about their loyalties to somebody else.
Yep, that's good. I have people that a lot of people like to look at houses, right? So they'll just go out without an agent, and if you get in that situation and you end up working with the seller's buyer, as Trina said, they don't have your best interest in mind. And I know, for me, I try to stay within a client's boundaries. If I know that this is the amount that you can afford, this is the amount that you approve for, this is the amount that you don't want to pay more than this per month, and you come up and you find a home, I'm going to let you know this is going to take you there. So we don't need to look at this home. You've told me, do not let me go over this amount. And that's what I'm going to do. Because for me, it's not about getting you to buy a bigger home that costs more so that I can get a bigger commission. I don't even really think about commission when I'm trying to find somebody a home. I'm trying to find what it is that they want within the price range that we have already talked about. So I try to make sure, where do you want to stop? because people want to look at, a whole bunch of homes. And I don't want somebody to go into a home and fall in love with it. And they may be qualified for it, but it's out of their range. And then I've put them in a home that now they're struggling. And that's never my intent to do that. I want to make sure that we're all on the same page before we even start looking at a home. And that's the page that we end on.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree with that, because that's what I like. I don't want no one to be what we call house poor.
Yep.
I want you to be able to stay in that house. That's your castle. I don't want to see you lose that house. So that's why I will not go over what you tell me that amount of house that that you want to buy. You don't never. I always tell my buyers, do not go to the limit, because you got approved for 600,000 doesn't mean that that's what you want to buy. That's like I said earlier, know your finances, know what you love to do to travel. And if that's not a mortgage that you want to obtain, just let your lender know, I want a $1,500 mortgage. She'll tell you how much house that is that you can buy. So we want you to stay in your homes. We don't want you to lose them.
Yeah.
It's an emotional process, and I think you guys don't get enough credit because 6 o'clock, 6:30, my phone is off. Don't call me. Call me tomorrow.
Yeah.
Unless it's an emergency and you can text me.
I don't believe you, Sheba, because literally I would be emailing you stuff and texting you, and you would be answering it like at 4 o'clock in the morning. So.
I answer the emails and the texts. You're a special client. But like phone calls, my brain be fried from just sitting in front of the computer and going through numbers and conversations all day. So you guys take calls.
Yeah.
I mean, anytime, every time, and you're there emotionally for them. This is an emotional process. Y'all get closer with the clients because you're riding around and you're looking at these houses. I sometimes don't meet you until the closing table. So we build our own rapport and connection, but they're way more closer to y'all. So you can sometimes be, the preacher when they need it. You can, pull them off the cliff. You can give them inspiration, they're crying, the shoulder to cry on. So you guys are just way more than you're just writing a contract. You're truly the glue that holds it together. Because, with us, it's different files and numbers and financing. And, it can take 7 months for them to find a house. Y'all talking to them every day, every week. Yeah. Me, I check in, need anything from me, run a couple of quotes, and then I don't hear from them again until they go under contract. But with y'all, it's a constant sometimes years while they're working on their credit. Yeah. So real estate agents, you definitely need one. They're your person.
Yeah. And I would say one other thing is, because we had talked about this in our, questions is, an agent is going to, a good agent, I think, is going to make sure you get an inspection on a house. So if you're just out here freestyling and you want to, buy the house on your own and not, have an agent, you're going to miss some of those key things like having an inspection done. Which is very important. You need to have an inspection on a house. I even make my clients get an inspection when it's a new construction property because, they can make mistakes too. And even though, they're getting their permits and, people are coming and watching and looking and checking things throughout the process, they can still miss some stuff. So, I even tell mine to go ahead and get an inspection even with a new construction property. But, you want to have somebody that can advocate
that
for you.
inspection, because if you do not have an agent, and say you can still get an inspection and have an agent, but after the inspection, the agent is still working because we have to negotiate with the seller what repairs that they're going to do. Are they going to do the repairs, or are they going to give you allowance to get the repairs done yourself? Like if you're working on that on your own, it's probably not going to work out as best as it would as if you had somebody that's an expert in the field doing that for you, working with the other agent. Because again, like I told you, the seller's agent is working for the seller. So if you're telling their agent what you want them to fix, you're relying on them translating the message and coming back. They're not going to say, we need you to fix this, or, give us X amount. So we are here for the buyer, if they're buying a home that we're representing, and even the seller in both ways. But I think it's important to have a real estate agent. I know you can go out. They have, for sale by owners and do all this other stuff, but I think you would get the biggest bang for your buck if you do have a real estate agent.
And let me add, 8 times out of 10, it's free. The seller pays for your real estate agent.
Yeah,
That is
yeah,
true.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
free.
Always.
Because I've had
It's
people
free.
ask me, okay, so how much is it gonna
Yep.
cost? I'm like,
Yep.
we looking for a house. I'm like, you don't have to pay me anything.
Anything.
You don't have to pay me anything. It's free.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ride you around. I'm gonna use my good gas. I'm gonna ride you around. We're gonna look at all these houses. And the only thing that you have to pay is what you need to pay towards
Your
the
loyalty.
the mortgage, which leads me to my last question.
Well,
as
I
we
will
wrap
say this
up.
too, as we get ready to wrap up. One other thing that if you're interested in buying a house or even if you're selling, you also need to have an agreement with your agent, an
yes.
exclusive buyer agreement or seller's
listing.
agreement, because, even if we are, riding you around free, so to speak, I need to know I'm just riding you around and you're
Right.
not riding with me and you ride with Jennifer sometime and you ride with Brenda sometime. So you will have to sign an exclusive agreement saying that you're working only with me. And that's how most agents do, because we don't get paid until we get to the closing table. So we have to know that, you have some skin in the game. You're in it
Oh, I
to
wish
win
we
it.
had one of
Yeah,
those.
I think we were gonna take up all the time, but we are running out of time. But I do have one last question that I think is really important for everybody to know. So if I could just ask one question and we can maybe make it quick, so we'll have a few minutes for everybody to say something at the end. But this last question goes to you, Sheba. How much do I need for a down payment? And are there any other fees that I need to be prepared for when obtaining a mortgage?
So there are fees, just like the home inspection, you want to have money for an appraisal. Appraisals are third party, so they're going to get paid regardless if the deal closes or not. And you want your appraisal because you want to know how much the house actually is going to be worth. So you need your appraisal, which ranges from, let's just say, $500 to $700 for a rush. If you get big mansion, it can sometimes be $1,000, $1,600. It just kind of all depends. Then you have to have closing costs. Your closing costs, your down payment, 2 separate costs. Please keep that in mind. Your down payment usually ranges from 3% on the low end to 20% if you're trying to avoid mortgage insurance or if you're using a non-qualified mortgage, investment or bank statement or alternative to the norm. That down payment can be 20%. We do have several programs that can help alleviate that cost and lower it, but nothing's for free. Your closing costs are going to generally run between 3 and 4% of the sales price. I don't have any upfront fees other than a $67 credit report. And that's kind of my gas, like y'all use. We don't have a exclusive broker agreement, so they could work with 3 or 4, different people and shop around. Credit reports are expensive. If I spend $67 on everybody, I'm gonna be in a poorhouse. So all I ask is for you to pay and put your skin in the game with the credit report. That's the only upfront fee I charge. So appraisal, inspection, earnest money, credit report, and then your down payment and closing costs.
All right, good. Trina, if you had 30 seconds, what would you tell the people?
I would say during this month, as we're talking about, home ownership, to just get yourself prepared. If you know that you want to purchase a house, if that's one of your short-term goals or even long-term goals, and you know that you're wanting to purchase a house, go ahead and make sure that your credit is in place. Speak to a lender and go ahead and get pre-approved. And if they tell you need to work on some things, go ahead and start working on those things. Home ownership is obtainable. Home ownership is popping.
Yay.
Brenda, 30 seconds. What would you like to tell the people?
Start saving your money. Make sure you, like she said, check your credit score, and remember, buying a home is a major decision. It's a very important decision in your life that you're going to be buying. It's a major purchase. Besides, it's more important than the next when you're making a decision on your maid.
Okay. Sheba, 30 seconds. What would you tell the people?
Call me, 678-304-9590.
That's right, Sheba.
Let's have a, one-on-one discussion. I'm an open book. I'm more about education than sales. So I like to educate you and just, get you in that house. It's a very tedious process, and you kind of just need to know what it is. So 678-304-9590.
All right, so my 30 seconds is, first of all, I would like to thank you ladies for joining us on stage this evening and presenting all of this knowledge. I actually learned a lot. I've been in the business for a while, but I learned a lot. So you can never stop learning. But what I would like to tell you before we end is share this information. If you have, like she said, someone in college, a young niece, a young nephew, let's share this information. Let's make sure that, you know, our next generation is set up for success and financial freedom. As I stated at the beginning, if they can start early and have a home, they can retire and not have a mortgage. Thank you all for listening in tonight. Be blessed.
Good night.
Good night.
Love you, Global.
Love you, Global.
Thanks for having me, Global.